Before getting started with our food prep, I'm going to get our coals started and warming. We have these nice chimneys here that you can put the coals in on top and some paper loosely in the bottom, and that really directs the heat and gets those coals nice and hot while you get your food ready. So to get those going, turn them upside down, loosely put paper in the bottom. Remember, fire needs fuel, oxygen, and a heat source in order to work. So we want to make sure that there's enough air getting through our paper to heat up our coals. So once we have that loosely packed, we'll turn that upside down and we'll add some of our briquettes to it. And we're just going to use a few here because we only have 2 dishes going in there. These are nice pans that kind of keep our fire contained and off of the ground and makes it really easy for cleanup in the end. So that's what these metal pans are for. When I cook at home, I just use my campfire ring and leave the ashes in there. So go ahead and get our paper started here. And you'll start to see smoke coming out of the top. And that means that it's going. So we'll check these coals back in a few minutes and we'll just let them cook while we get our food prep going. So for our pineapple upside down cake, we're going to mix 1.5 sticks of butter with 3/4 cup sugar. Now when you're camping, you might not have all of the different cups, and the best part about cooking is the recipe is more of a guideline. So that looks like 3/4 to me, or close enough. Dump her in. We're going to blend that up. Once we have that blended really well, we're going to add 2 eggs, mixing well. After that, we'll come back and we'll add our flour and the reserved pineapple juice. So here is our blended eggs, sugar, and butter. And just to show that cooking doesn't need to be perfect, I lost an egg on the way to the bowl. So, doesn't matter. I had another one and I just left it there. I'll clean it up later. Cooking isn't perfect. Important to remember. So, now I'm going to be adding our flour to this mixture. I have some gluten-free friends here at the Nature Center, so I'm going to be making this recipe gluten-free. You can make any recipe that calls for flour, just replace it with a gluten-free mix. Just know that the texture will be different and it might look a little different. So we'll see how this goes. If it doesn't turn out, that's alright. It'll still probably taste okay. Now to make gluten-free self-rising flour, I added a couple tablespoons of baking powder. So that's what that mix is there. So I'm going to dump in my cups of flour here. I'm going to stir that up a bit, and then I will add our reserved pineapple juice, get that going, and then our batter will be ready. So now we are to our chicken enchilada dip. I have prepared everything. While we were making our cake, I was browning the chicken. I shredded that. I chopped up this jalapeno. If anyone knows how to cut up a jalapeno without getting seeds everywhere, please give me a call and let me know your secrets. But now, we just add everything to our chicken mix, and then it will go into the Dutch oven, and that will be ready to go. So we have our pound of chopped chicken. We need our can of green chilies. we need 8 ounces of cheddar cheese. Now keep in mind this is camp food, so it is not healthy. We need 8 ounces of cream cheese. There we go. And our jalapeno. I didn't mince that too finely because I don't have the patience. So there's going to be some big chunks of jalapenos. Now, remember, if you do not use gloves while chopping jalapenos, do not touch your eyes. It will burn. Those jalapeno juices will stay on your hands for a long time, even after washing. So parents, please remind your children and use caution. Next and last, we have our mayonnaise. I don't know what an 8-ounce jar of mayonnaise looks like, so I grabbed 20 fluid ounces. So we are going to say we took this camping with us and we don't have anything to measure it with. So we're just going to guess. 8 ounces is the size of that cream cheese block. Perfect. We can add more if we need to. So I'm going to mix this all together and we'll dump it into our Dutch oven. We are set up outside now. Let's take a look at our coals. What we're looking for is white coals that are glowing. So those are ready. Now when I'm working around anything hot, I always have my gloves on. Even if I'm not going to be really touching anything hot, just those wood handles, it's so easy to forget what you're doing and get burned. So we will dump out our coals into our little pan here. And get ready to get our pineapple upside down cake going. So that takes 8 coals on the bottom. So I'll measure out my 8 coals here, and I will kind of lay them around the outside of where that Dutch oven is going to sit. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Kind of around the outside edge there. And I will set my Dutch oven right over top of that because it has those legs so it can sit on there. I'm going to pop the lid off and I'm going to let this warm up and get a little bit hotter and melt my butter in there. So I'm going to grab my butter, not drop it on the ground. I'm going to throw it in there. While we get our chicken enchilada dip going, oh, it's already starting to happen. Our butter will be melting. Our chicken enchilada dip also takes 8 coals on the bottom. So, I'm going to bring our pan around here. I'm going to pick out 8 coals. Once again, going with that circular motion. Or arrangement, I should say. 6, 7, and 8. Kind of arrange around the outside. Okay. Alright. Remember, we have our enchilada dip in here. So this can just be popped right on top there, right over our coals. So that's the bottom, but we also want some heat on top. And we need more heat on the top so it will bake evenly. So we need 12 coals to go on top. Check out our butter, melting nicely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to arrange these to disperse the heat evenly all over our chicken enchilada dip. Alright. In 30 minutes, well actually 15 minutes, we come and we rotate things, check on our coals, and we'll see what that looks like in 15 minutes. So let's go back to our Dutch oven with the pineapple upside down cake. This butter is melting nicely. Alright, so our butter has melted in the bottom of our Dutch oven. Now we're going to sprinkle a 4th cup of brown sugar. We're camping, so it doesn't really matter what a 4th cup is. 4th cup is about a handful. We're going to sprinkle that all around to make this nice caramelized layer. That's just not enough brown sugar, so we're going to add some more. Because remember, we're camping and calories don't count. Try and pick a more level spot than I did so that the butter will be evenly distributed. So I'm just going to tip it. Get things going around like that. Alright. Now we're going to add our pineapple rings to cover the bottom. For our pineapple upside down cake. Alright, so now we have our gluten-free batter that we prepared here. A little bit of ash in it, which is totally fine. We're going to spread this batter on top of the pineapples. We'll have to use some care here to not upset our pineapples and get them smeared all over the place. Gentle smushing to the edge. Hopefully those pineapples weren't too juicy. It looks pretty juicy in the bottom. Hopefully it tastes okay. Now we pop our lid on. Put our gloves back on because we're going to be handling coals again. And this calls for 15 coals on top. Kind of tap the ash off of our coals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And we'll kind of arrange them. Remember, we want to distribute that heat all over our Dutch oven. And we will check on this in 15 minutes. Alright, it's been 15 minutes since we started our Dutch ovens, so we are going to take a peek and see what they look like. We'll start with so this is our lid lifter. We're going to start with our chicken enchilada dip. So you hook this under here and you brace it with those little legs, and that gives you a lot of stability when lifting your lid. Lift up straight up. Doesn't really look like too much is happening. I can feel some heat in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to rotate our lid 180 degrees. That'll help it kind of redistribute that heat. And then we're going to lift the whole thing and spin that 180. Alright, let's check our cake. Same idea here. I'm going to brace it, lift it straight up and off. Also not doing a whole lot. So we're going to spin our lid and we're going to spin our bottom. So I don't like that it's not showing me a lot of signs of cooking yet because we're at the halfway point. So I'm going to add some more coals. Now this is where it gets tricky because this is really the time when people ladle on the coals and then you end up burning it. That's what I did with my last Dutch oven thing, but we ate the top off of it and it was fine. So let's take a look at our bottom coals here. Oh man, we have like nothing for coals. So dusting off that ash, because the ash on the surface insulates it, so we're not getting the full amount of heat that we need. So I'm just going to add a few more till we get about 8 coals. Or so. Set our Dutch oven back on top. I'm going to kind of dust these off here. Kind of making sure they're still good. So here's our finished product. This is our chicken enchilada dip. And this is our pineapple upside down cake. Testing it in the middle here. It's done. So we'll see how it tastes.